Hey, this is a friend of mine, Jeremy's rig, 1986 Land Rover Defender 90. Hey, welcome to the Odd Rod Garage. We got something special coming your way today. And part of that is we're doing a little bit of wiring on the 55 Chevy two-door gasser wagon. We're finally getting a little progress done on that. It stopped raining. I've done a whole bunch of pumping of water to try and dry things up. I still have at least a week before I can move my forklift. In the meantime, we've actually come up with an interesting little project we're going to help a guy with. And I think you guys are really going to like this. I'm going to fire it on up, and you guys tell me what you think of this one. This one's going to be really cool.
Good morning, everybody. Odd Rod Garage here. Today, we're going to start the preliminary wiring for the gasser. I want to show you what I did. What'd you do? So, the body of the supercharger is pretty big. I believe it's an 871, so it's not quite as big as you can get, but it's pretty big, especially for the street, especially for a small block. So, usually when you do that, you usually end up having to run a smaller body distributor. So I know a lot of people can go, you can go with like a point style distributor, because a Chevy point style distributor, the body is a lot smaller. I'll show you here. This is what you'd call, this is the body of the starter or the distributor that goes in the gasser, and you can see it's considerably smaller diameter than an HEI. So what I've done was I wired it. I've wired the car to where we can run either a normal coil, a normal point type distributor. I think that distributor right there, I think that is to trigger a coil, not in your normal points fashion. There's a Hall effect switch in there, I believe, that triggers the coil. Anyway, you don't need to know all that, but I went ahead and wired it for your conventional type of coil with a conventional points. That way you have extra wires. If we go with something different, then that's fine. The one thing we cannot do is go with an HEI. So, only because the body is so big. So, in true gasser fashion, it needs to be nice and clean and petite as much as possible. So I've started this loom. That way we can hide it. It'll be it'll be along the frame rail. You won't even notice it. That's kind of our signature here at Odd Rod Garage, is to hide wiring, which isn't always easy. What I have found out was I looked up NHRA, and I got some downloads, some specifications that they require for both 1/8 mile and 1/4 mile cars. You know, and who knows if this car will ever see the strip, but why not make it to where it'll tech okay to where you could run it? And I did that because it's going to kind of it's going to kind of point me in a direction as to how to wire it, right? So they didn't really care per se how it's wired, but with the battery switch, you must be able to turn the battery switch off and actually kill the car. You got to kill all the power, which you could do it with if you put the battery switch on the positive side. That tends to arc things out sometimes. So I might wire it with actually an ignition relay to where you can actually flip the ground side and it'd kill everything. Either way, that's kind of down the road. But I just want to show you the fun here. So let's install it and see if I even came anywhere close. So hang on. What is that? It's a bunch of wiring is what it is. Wah-ha-ha. Alright. So this is the engine bay side. This is the cab side, or the driver compartment side, I guess you could say. Let's just go ahead and feed all this stuff in here. And like I said, I mean, we'll have a grommet and all that stuff. We'll tidy it up, but I just wanted to show you that, because I know there's been a couple of comments where people wanted to see us wire stuff. And believe it or not, wiring is actually not all that complicated. It's just there's forethought and a lot of focus. Focus, focus, focus. So, let's go ahead and get this stuff started in here. This is all ignition or engine stuff, all that. All this is all lighting. And I'll show you again here in a second. Just want to make sure it fits. All right. Okay, there's the starts. So, this guy right here, this is our coil and or distributor. This is our tack lead. You gotta have a tack, right? There's that. This is gonna be the starter trigger here. And this is our charge wire. And this stuff is gonna probably sit up something like this and then do something like that. That way it's nice and tucked in, it's tidy, you don't see nothing. All this stuff here, this is for our positive side of the fan. This is our turn signals. This is our, turn signals. This is our horn. I just wired it in, you know, might as well, right? And our high beam and low beam. I haven't really committed to anything yet. But I want to kind of give you guys an idea. So anyway, goes under here like this. Zoop. Distributor stuff here. Zoop. This is because all the Chevy starters are all on this side. So there's that. So hang on here. So again, turn signals. Blah 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 blah. Fan power up. But what I wanted to do was we'll put a clamp here so it stays nice and tucked in like that. Because with the fender exit headers, the headers are actually gonna be up here. So that's not too much of a concern. That'll be a perfect spot for that. And I stopped the wiring here because we'll put a bulkhead there, a quick disconnect, so you can disconnect it and the whole front clip come off. And the wiring's right there. You're not having to cut nothing. It's just one unplug and everything's good to go. So there's that aspect of things there. And we're gonna come in here. And owie, and owie, and owie. This is all again, this is all just lighting. I believe, I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, I think the ignition switch and stuff like that goes in here. Probably one of these was a choke, you imagine, at one point in time. So I wanted to tell you guys here something. So the reason why computer cars can run so hard is because you have a computer on board checking stuff out. And if you actually have a scan tool and you fire your car up, you'll see it's got a base idle of, on a computer car, base idle would probably be somewhere around, I don't know, 15-20 degrees, something like that. But as you zip it up or as you accelerate, you'll see the computer actually advancing the timing, which is pretty cool. That's just what it does. And on HEIs, you have your vacuum advance and your centrifugal advance. The centrifugal advance kicks in first, I believe. But when you're running a big motor and a lot of compression, and especially a huffer and everything else, you have to give it as much timing as you can when you're running it hard, right? Well, the problem with doing that is you can't advance it. Well, I mean, where you can climb on the hood and advance it while you're going down the strip or going down the street, something like that. Well, it's impossible. So here's the thing: the old-time gassers, racers, or actually old-time dragster, or anything, the way they did it was you had the ignition, right, for the distributor, and you also had, you know, your normal switch has, you know, power on, and then you start it and all that stuff. The reason why, let me retract. So the old race cars what they did was they advanced the distributor as hard as they could, right, to where the car was running peak timing, peak everything, at least mid-track, if not end of the track, right? But when you do that, when you advance the timing that much, you can't start them because you'll destroy stuff. You'll break starters in half and all that, and it'd be hard to even get it to start. So what they do is you have actually a toggle switch for the ignition on the engine itself for the distributor. So they'll actually start spinning the motor, and then you hit the ignition, and then it'll start, right? And that's the only way you can get a bunch of timing in a carbureted car and not destroy stuff. So I'm going to wire it like that to where you have an ignition key, you know, to where you can have the start position, but then you have the toggle switch to make it start. Anyway, a lot of crap first thing this morning, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, lighting, and this is all the starts of everything. Your distributor, tack, all that stuff, starter kicker, all that. And NHRA does not specify if you can have the wiring inside the car or outside the car, so I don't know exactly how I'm going to go about that, but I do know that the battery is going to end up in the back, because it's got to, as a gasser, it's got to be nice and clean and petite up front, right? You can't have a battery up there. So the battery will probably end up in the back somewhere here. That's what my guessing is. Anyway, a whole lot of blabbing this morning. There's some other stuff I needed to do, and I kind of wanted to just warm up on doing some preliminary wiring, you know, say what's up this morning. A lot of stuff.
All right, this is gonna be something pretty cool. I don't like working on late model projects, but this one's not that late model, and it's sort of scary to recognize the fact that you're that old when cars in the 80s don't seem to be that old to you. So anyway, I got something coming up I think you guys are really going to enjoy. Hey, this is a friend of mine, Jeremy's rig, 1986 Land Rover Defender 90. It's two-door, 90-inch wheelbase. It's got a poor excuse of an engine in it right now. It's got a little 4-cylinder diesel that produces maybe 85 horsepower. But this thing's going to be bad. We're going LS. This is a Land Rover Defender 90. It's a two-door. Right now it's a little turbo diesel. Has about 85 horsepower, or it did when it was new. It's as slow as a three-legged turtle with sore feet. And this girl right here is going LS. I think it's going to be cool as heck. It's actually a really nice solid rig. There's lots of room for us to do the LS swap. So when it's all said and done, it's going to look exactly like it looks right now. But it's going to have reliable horsepower. It's going to have a lot of horsepower. It's going to have more torque than what this little thing provided it. And this thing here is just going to be one heck of a cool rig. Gentleman and his family can take this out camping and probably never get stuck. Anyway, 1986 Land Rover Defender 90. This thing's going to be cool. Well, we got a little bit of wiring done. We went and picked up the Defender 90. I think you guys are going to love this build. Anyway, we want to thank you guys for coming and watching. I want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, send us that like, you know, leave a comment, share the link. Remember to visit our merchandise store at www.theoddrodgarage.com and blow a bunch of money on those t-shirts. I want to thank you guys for coming and spending time with us, and as always, thanks for watching.